represents a form or a style or an age or a genre. And we want all generations, especially young India, to speak up about their concerns. The topic is Dance Matters.
Dance as in rhythm. The moment we speak of dance, we talk of it as rhythm. We think of it as rhythm, we feel rhythm. And truly enough, rhythm exists in every aspect of our lives. If you see as humans, right from our breathing, which goes in rhythm, to our heartbeats, which goes in rhythm, to everything that works in the human system. When we go on to the way of life, whether it is our daily ways of life, batting the eyelid, chewing, plaiting your hair, when it comes to nature, the birds flying, the leaves shaking, the water, the movement of the water, the way the cows trot, again, everything is rhythm. And then when we come to calamities too, there is rhythm. Whether you talk of the tsunami, or whether you talk of earthquakes, or the shifting of the earth plates, everything has rhythm. So, with so much of rhythm in nature, whether we want it or not, dance matters. Dance matters in our daily livelihoods. Dance matters in the movements we do. Dance matters in nature. For me, if I were to say how dance mattered to me as an individual, right from the way I started learning dance, because of dance is who I am. Because of dance, I could convert it to courage, to confidence, to grace. Because of dance, I could decide what it is I wanted to choose as my journey in life. Because of dance, I got over many trials and tribulations, and again because of dance, I feel I became closer to the Paramatma. I felt closer to divine. Again, dance matters. But when I think of all those children who learn from me, they have taught me to be patient. I would have never been a good teacher but for my students. They taught me patience. They taught me choreography. So I continue to be a learner. And here too, dance matters. But today when you see the situation of dance, the way it was for me through my journey, when I said dance mattered right from the word go at the age of 4 till now, the journey has been comfortable, good, my livelihood, everything came from dance. But can today's dancers say the same thing? And if there is going to be a future generation of dancers, can they say the same thing? Can they make a livelihood out of dance? Can they think of dance as the only thing in their life and nothing more? Because when we see young dancers today, the struggle they go through, they don't have the kind of audience, they have the exposures, but they don't have the audience. Today, dance gives everyone opportunities because it's become much more global. But to make that opportunity fruitful and to back it up, we need patrons, we need a terrific audience, and that is what we lack. Today, I still remember when I and my sister Meera used to dance, we never had to worry whether we were going to have a good audience or not. Today, when I hear that very senior dancers have had 3 people in the audience and 10 people in the audience, it's very disheartening. And to make dance more workable financially, also, they need patrons. Dancers need support. And for that, it's only possible when patrons and lovers of art encourage it, because the guru can only teach the student, the guru cannot get a performance for the student. When my students come to me, this is the first thing I tell them, that I'll be more than happy to impart the knowledge I have, but I definitely can't make a promise that you will be the #1 dancer of the country or that you'll get a lot of performances. Because today there are so many more dancers, and is the quality of dance what it should be? Today, though I would like to believe that mediocrity doesn't have a place, but there are a lot of mediocre dancers and dance institutions without taking names. So if institutions and gurus would give it importance, would see that the quality of dance gets better instead of deteriorating, I think it'll go a long way. I think there are a lot of speakers who have a lot of points to say about whether dance works or not in today's scenario. But I can just say that I have been playing lucky, that dance has mattered to me through my journey and continues to matter to me. And I wish all you young dancers great dancing years. I hope a lot of patrons will come forward, a lot of promoters like Mr. Ashish Khokar will come forward to give many of you opportunities to perform. Thank you.
Speaking of seniority and quality, no better than Guru Lalita Srinivasan, who for years has presented many artists, done human festivals, and taught 3 generations of dancers. Lalita ji, to bless us.
Good afternoon to all of you. I didn't expect this, so I'm not prepared. It has mattered throughout my life. As a child, I knew I was dancing for every rhythm, every song, everything, sound I heard. Even then I was appreciated, which I liked very much. It boosted my ego, I suppose. And then as I learned and became a dancer, and later with a few years of gap, I understood I hadn't learned anything at all. Then it mattered that I educate myself in the field. It mattered that I become better and better. And it filled my life in all aspects. It fetched me name, fame. It fetched me friends, admirers. It made my body respond to every sensitive aspects of life. And teaching has also become a great blessing. I have so many loving students. I have so many friends who admire what work I have done. So it's been a very satisfying journey. So what else can it do than it has mattered so much. If at all I have another life, I would like to be a dancer again. Thank you.
There seems to be little gender inequality on the dais at least. So may I request some young, the only ones on stage, may I request from Mysore somebody who's come all the way, Vidwan Sridhar Jainji also to kindly join because he's doing service by training in Mysore. So a chair for him on the podium if there's no seat left. We now request teacher's teacher, Padmini Raviji. Padmini Raviji is everyone's teacher. Anyone I've spoken to the last 20 years or so, they've all seemed to have, naturally Malleshwaram is the base, as is Basanagudi, but everyone is teaching. And she has taught 3 generations of dancer, even if she herself looks like only 1 generation old. So may I request the teachers, the quintessential complete artist of Bangalore who has done many huge festivals. We all know her work with Nandini in putting Bangalore on the cultural map. She has traversed a vast journey and brings to us a great in-depth view of all that has transpired in this field, both as a learner, as a performer, as a star, as a teacher, as a guru, and now as a patron. Guru Padmini Ravi, please.
Dance should matter, but to whom? To all of you. And how? If you had seen the film, the dance over 100 years, there was no perfection because it came from the heart. In the name of tradition and perfection, we have somehow, I believe, lost the essence of dance, which is coming straight from your heart, your soul. And we today are so much bent upon perfection, lines, that somewhere we have become very judgmental on morality, on values, on sensuousness. If you had seen Kamala, we all had, our generation had the privilege of watching the maestros, and everybody danced from their heart, and that's what matters, because that's how we transitioned 100 years. And if we were to go to the next 100 years with that kind of splendor and glory and sincerity, I think all of you as dancers and teachers, for you, one thing should matter. It should come right from your heart. No matter, nobody says what is right or what is wrong, but it should be your individual expression. And that's what will matter, because that's what you're transferring to your students. And therefore, I believe that each one of us should have the responsibility and the courage to believe in what we think is right and take opinions and, of course, correct ourselves, as Lalita ji said rightly. I mean, we learn all our lives. And I think that's the most important thing. That should matter for the current generation of dancers and teachers. And therefore, if we do that, it will naturally matter to an audience. Thank you.
She has flown all the way from Hyderabad this morning to be with us. She's also amongst the few who's a Padma Shri and a Sangeet Natak Academy Award winner and a TED speaker of great outreach. And when she gets time, she also manages Indian Railways. Dr. Ananda Shankar Jain from the stage and for dance. And she was also the guest editor of the last issue of AttenDANCE on Telugu traditions, which very admirably she put together. Only 10 copies are left. Get them before they finish today. She'll be receiving the first copy of the latest issue this evening, when it will be released this evening at 6:30 by the Doyen of Dance, Guru M.K. Saroja. Dr. Ananda Shankar Jain from Hyderabad.
Thank you, Ashish. Good afternoon, friends. I'm just coming straight from a CII conference which was inaugurated by the Prime Minister on 23rd. And yesterday, some arts administrators, presenters, and performers dialogued in Delhi on the concept of culture being the glue that binds India. I think the glue that binds culture and dance in Bangalore is Ashish Khokar. So I think you need to give him a big round of applause because this is indeed very rare that you have dancers from different styles, different genres, different generations, ages coming together in a sense of sharing, and I think that credit completely goes to you, Ashish. May God bless you with more such health, wealth, and support for doing something like this. In continuation of the idea of dance matters, after you saw that film of 100 years, to all of you young dancers on stage and off stage, please remember you are the continuing thread. You are the ones who will take that 100 years forward. you are part of that tradition, you are part of that river, which we call tradition, which will change, which will morph, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad, sometimes indifferent. But the fact is that you will continue that tradition. Because dance dies the minute it is born. Unlike any other art form, whether it's painting or sculpture or writing, which has an afterlife, the life of dance begins and ends the minute it happens. And hence, it has such an ephemeral quality to it. And the need of the hour, and this is to all of you youngsters, is to stay the course. It's very easy to give up. I was just talking to my friends outside, and I was sharing with them that as a teacher, I used to lose my students to the first baby, then I lost them to marriage, then I lost them to graduation, and now I lose them to SAT exams. And this is going to happen with all of you. You will all be going through this trajectory of trying to be having a great career and having a great dance career. They're two different things. Dance is a long haul. It is, let us face it, it is going to be a difficult, arduous task. It's going to be a difficult way to live life in the way you want it, with your iPhone 6 and your iPads and your iPods. If you're going to expect it out of dance, it is going to be a long haul. So the trick is, I feel, and I think I have managed it in that way, is to find something that will subsidize your dance. Cross-subsidize it. Now, you could say cross-subsidize it with engaging in dance in a different way. You could engage in it in a formal way, like learn technical stuff like lighting, like sound design, like sound engineering, and that will cross-subsidize your dance. Or find a career in which your salary will ensure that you cross-subsidize it, and hence you will be able to stay the course. I have been able to do this because I'm with the Indian Railways, I'm Chief General Manager, so for me those two tracks have worked. So don't let anyone tell you that you cannot do two things. You can do two and more. Please remember that. To the parents here, I know you all want your children to dance, you all want to see them in dance, but you will be the first one to stop them from going to dance class the minute you want the child to join engineering or you want the child to get into medical. The trick for you, my dear ladies and gentlemen, is to continue to nourish, cherish and nurture that passion that you have instilled in your child. Don't stop it somewhere in the chase for degrees, which is necessary, but somewhere teach them to balance both. Because in the course of life, as we go along, life challenges us differently. It's challenged me differently, and in that trajectory of life, what will come to one's support and succor is your passion that you as parents have nourished in your child. So don't let that passion go away. Let them continue to stay the course. You could, I'm not saying all of you will be the greatest performers, but you can all try. We'll all be there to support you in whatever way we can, with someone like Ashish doing an extraordinary job and all of us here. Stay the course, keep dance, make dance as your inner soul, and more importantly, when all the earlier speakers were talking about having a great audience, be part of that audience. Please ensure you become good rasikas also, not just come for your own performance or for your own child's performance. Go to every other performance, and I'm sure that's happening fantastically in Bangalore. So I will leave you with the thought that it may not matter to you now, it may matter to you just as a performance now, but keep with it, stay with it. In course of time, it will be your soul strength. Thank you, God bless you.
Kalidasa once said, both artists and creepers need support. Creepers as plants, not the modern use of the word. Both of them need support to grow. So patrons and promoters and people who outreach or help art outreach or reach out are very important. We've had one of the gurus of advertising, somebody who ran an advertising company called Marich. How interesting, magical, always changing, unknown, illusionary, Utkal Mohantiji. He is a fixture in all dance events and promotion. And he is equal to all dance forms. So here is Dr. Utkal Mohanty, educationist, patron, and somebody who can give it the ground reality. Thank you.
I'm going to speak a few words on innovation and experimentation in dance. Why innovation and experimentation is necessary? It's necessary to take any art form forward, making it more engaging for a newer generation of audiences who should see it as a live art form and not as something which they go to as a duty to their past heritage. So, what kind of innovation and experimentation would be the next question? Talking of Odissi, which I'm a little more familiar with, we have seen how the contemporary gurus have created what we see today as Odissi, synthesizing different traditions like Gotipo, Mahari, and other art forms, other dance forms. In my lifetime, I've seen how the group dance format has taken precedence over the solo performances. I've seen how, for the first time, when I saw Pratima Bedi perform Tulsidas' Ramayana as an Abhinay item rather than Jayadeva, one of the traditional Odissi poets. I've seen Sonal Mansingh do an entire performance based on Bollywood songs. Here in this auditorium, we saw young Meghna Das embed Odissi items within a modern love story narrated by a young girl. And very recently, I saw on YouTube somebody fusing Odissi and belly dance and performing to the Hotel California. And why not? If we are today having global exposure and a global audience, why not global fusion? And you take words like how they dance in the courtyard, sweet summer sweat, some dance to remember, some dance to forget. I think these are pretty good words to do, and I will do. In the master's chambers, they are gathered for the feast. They stab with their steely knives, and still we just can't kill the beast. Yeah, good words to do, Abhinay. And so when I listen to songs on the radio in my car, and then quite occasionally I start visualizing a Odissi performance to it. You take a song like, it's late in the evening, she's wondering what to wear. She puts on her makeup, brushes her long blonde hair, and she asks me, do I look all right? And I say, you look wonderful tonight. I think, yes, we have been performing to the love of Radha and Krishna, but love is not restricted to Radha and Krishna. So I think the basic rasa, Sringara, Karuna, Bhakti, all this we can take, I think, from anywhere. And then what is sacrosanct? I mean, what is it that you can meddle with? I feel any dance form, what is the key asset, what is the original asset, is a set of movements or mudras which are your vocabulary. So using that vocabulary, if you express what you want to express, I would say go ahead. I mean, you can break up anything as long as you are true to yourself. And of course, when you are talking of classical dances, what we are talking of is a high art form, which means that we are not dealing with the superficial, but something of deeper essence, something which connects with our human existence. So as long as you are true to that, and you are expressing yourself using the vocabulary of a particular dance form, I think I would say, go ahead and do it. Thank you.
Sometimes I have a serious consideration for the word fusion because it is part of the word confusion. So when we think of also forms in music or dance or many other evolutionary arts, both are concomitant. Somebody who travels that journey, somebody who comes from tradition, is innovation, is now doing human work worldwide. She's just returned performing for Prime Minister Modi in Hanover Fair. Before that, she was in Stadium for Amitabh Bachchan's 75th anniversary with 100,000 people. Her work from Bangalore in 10 years has reached far and wide. You just saw glimpses of it in MS Subbulakshmi Suprabhatam, one and only Mayuri Upadhyay and Madhuri Upadhyay. The sister, one of them is here, Nritya Group of Bangalore, to kindly share with us her thoughts as a young artist who knows old India.
Namaskar and a big hello to all the dance lovers here. Thank you Ashish ji, thank you Elizabeth for calling me and supporting and guiding us throughout our journey so far. So, in all these years, from questioning, does dance matter, to nothing else matters, is where we've reached. I can say that to people whom dance doesn't matter, no longer matter to me. So I don't know if it's a good place or a bad place, but this is where I am currently. In this beautiful journey of dance, I wouldn't even call it self-absorbed or self-centered, but I think it is a practice which is so consuming, so absorbing, and so demanding that if you're not passionate, I would suggest don't get into it. And to me, when you say dance matters, to different people at different age groups at different times, it has a different effect. And so what is good dance, bad dance? I don't know. And it doesn't matter to me. At this point, when we are talking about the concern of dance, these are few things that I've put down that I think should be addressed for the scenario of dance. First thing is to go beyond the form of dance. I think we're all talking about the right, whether classical is good, whether modern is good, whether folk is good, whether tradition is good, whether modern is bad. And I think we should look at dance as an industry today which is surviving, which is living at the same time with 10 other industries in the society. So how do we take this art form to a very high, superior, rich level simultaneously without degrading it? And to make this possible, we need to look at several issues. One is to definitely avoid which form is good, which form is bad. Second thing is to set professional standards for dancing. If all the senior gurus, and I think if the movers and shakers of dance today can come together, and we don't, of course, government and patrons, yes, but if we can come together to look at two aspects of it. One is to look at the older generation of artists. If we can somehow set up pension schemes or health benefits for our older generation of artists, I think it would help a lot. And if the younger generation can get better professional standards of working, which has to be seen in multiple levels. For example, if you're doing a piece of work, now there are freelancers, there are company dancers, there's students who work only for a specific guru. Whereas everybody wants to perform, everybody wants to create work. So how do we look at this? So if there can be an understanding of what are good standards of working, what is the commitment of a dancer when one is looking at developing a piece of choreographic work with an artist, and probably looking at better standards of salaries, regular salaries. If we are able to give dancers regular salaries, why would they need to do 10 other jobs? If as a community we can tackle this, then it will be fantastic, and we don't have to look at dance as a very specific small community. That is one of my major concerns. So if that's what I wanted to address today, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to do so.
Doctor or dance, or both, why not? But not while operating in an operation theatre, for sure. But of course there can be aesthetics even in that. Last year, thanks to one very devoted doctor who was also to go on stage right here, ruined her costume because someone just fell at the back right there, broke her eye, she was diabetic, her blood was already thinned out, and we have this dancer who sacrificed her own show, her own costume, and on a Sunday when few hospitals don't work, normally things don't work anyway, but on Sunday more so, so she took her around and saved her. And that person is Dr. Jyotsna Jagannathan, right here with us, a dancer, Bharatanatyam artist, and she's also going to be conducting the rest of the session in the afternoon. May I invite her to speak her thoughts on the twin professions and the twin passions and more.
Ashish ji, didn't tell me to talk about my twin passions or twin professions. So I will talk about what my passion is and what my profession is right now, and that is being a dancer. I speak purely from where I stand today. It is no doubt very easy to fall into the trap of the issues we face as dancers. The lack of opportunities, diminishing audiences, dealing with a system that isn't purely merit-based and, to say the least, logical, and the inability to make a lucrative career out of only performing. The list would go on, but beyond the obvious, the one that concerns me the most is the need to be inspired. Where does inspiration come from? Is it a moment of personal genius? Is it the voice of a superpower speaking directly to us? Is it the result of good old-fashioned hard work? Maybe it's both. Can it be cultivated? Is it something far off and too hard to find? Or is inspiration so close to us as our very own breath? Very often I have felt that for dancers, beyond hearing our calling and beyond getting encouragement, we need to be inspired. I've been told that inspiration can be found in the most unusual of places, in music, in poetry, in art, in other people. But we need to seek it. I quote Rumi, "What you seek is seeking you." And if we look for it, we will find it. It might just be closer to us than our very own breath. I think a very important part about being a dancer today is to consciously gravitate towards people who share similar aesthetics, who have the same intentions towards their art, and who are also seeking the light. The word inspiration literally means to take a deep breath. When babies are born, they take their first breath and they come to life. We need inspiration, the breath of life, to truly live in dance and to allow us to continue despite the odds in search for excellence.
He is a complete artist. He teaches, dances, thinks, writes, amongst the few whom I've seen writing letters to editors about each and every article he has read and points it out, and is forever what we call a thinking dancer. He also happens to be a male soloist, a fine teacher, Praveen Kumar. P. Praveen Kumar with us today, a very fine teacher and artist of Bangalore, to enlighten us.
Very good afternoon to one and all of you. A happy World Dance Day to one and all of you here. Dance matters. For who? For each one of us in a different way. How does it matter for Ashish ji? How does it matter for me? Or for any one of the people who are sitting on the dais who comes with a different background, or to one and all of you who are here. Every year, when this World Dance Day gets over, I keep hearing it from Ashish ji saying, "This is the last year, I'm not going to do it anymore." But yet, exactly 2 months later, I see a mail from him saying, "We need to plan for the next World Dance Day. What do we do? What new things can be done?" So I do wonder, in what way does it matter to him? In spite of him saying that not getting great support from the government or anybody, but yet every year he does this World Dance Day with lots of chaos, craziness happening around. He does. What does dance matter for the people who are dancing here today? Is it just performing on this World Dance Day just to put in the biodata that I danced at so-and-so date of this World Dance Day conducted by AttenDANCE? Or how does it matter for me as a dancer? For me, dance has always mattered to me, whether I'm just performing, whether I'm teaching, or if I'm sitting there and watching somebody else dancing, or listening to somebody else. For me, dance has mattered, just not performance-wise. It's watching others, listening to others, and sharing that same thing, whatever I listen and I experience, with the students whom I share. That's how dance has mattered to me.
She works with spastic children. She is a dancer. She teaches in Coimbatore. She has done much service for dance. She also writes for The Hindu. She is Kumuda Chandrasekhar. She brings to us an overall perspective because she sees from inside and from outside. So an overview.
Good afternoon. Thanks, Ashish ji. I was waiting for your introduction actually to see what really I should talk today to an extent, because dance matters is really this extensive, right? How do you contain a 3 minute of what you want to convey and what you want to say? The first thing that comes to mind is a lot of us spoke about the problems that we have pursuing dance as a career, pursuing dance as something that you want to do full time and not without a parallel job. But then I tend to think, isn't that what filters us to want to be dancers? Yeah, there is no fixed salary, there is no promised status, there is no promised video or film or performances. If you notice, some of the biggest dancers don't. I have actually known dancers who haven't done Arangetram, some of the most senior dancers, and still they have made their mark in their own rightful way. So, to an extent, I believe that being a dancer comes from actually having to make this very difficult choice. Was it easier if dance came with, okay, if you are, this many years of pursuing and this many whatever, you are surely going to get a salary, a status. Wouldn't it be easier for us to just be a dancer? So for me, it works the other way around. I guess a lot of us choose to be dancers because we can't do probably the same thing every day. I'm sure a lot of us panelists here, it's very difficult for us to go to the same place every day, do the same thing, come back home and get up to having to do the same thing. So to an extent, it filters who really wants to be a dancer. The other thing under dance matters to me is taking dance to probably what we call a non-sacred place, to spaces outside where we will go and see dance more often, and then to keep it not diluted, to keep it in its purest of form. Like Ashish ji mentioned, I work for the Spastic Society of Karnataka. It was a parallel job for a while where you went, got trained in special education, did your things, and then you had to keep performing, you had to keep choreographing, had to keep teaching to keep the dancer alive in you. And after 6 long years of working, it finally has converged at one point of time. So the point of taking dance in its very pure form, in Bharatanatyam, in music, sitar, tabla, the works, to a place where otherwise the children will never ever be exposed to anything that pure. For me, I guess that to an extent is a need, because why are we eliminating that huge population of children, saying if they don't come on their own to a dance show, if they don't come on their own to spaces where they can find dance, then dance is not for them in their life. So for me, that is probably the thing that rings most loudly. Thank you.
She comes from Delhi. She's made Bangalore home. She does Bharatanatyam. She learned from Leela Samson. She teaches, she writes, and she's very, I would say, an activist. And she's one of the finest supporters of dance activities. Aranyani Bhargav with us.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was asked to speak about my concerns as a young dancer, and I found as I was listening to everybody that my concerns are quite similar to Mr. Mohanty's, Mayuri's, and several other people as well. What I'd like to talk about today is the idea that Mr. Ashish said today in the morning, that dance is not divisive. And Mayuri spoke about a similar thing as well, about how we shouldn't make that distinction between traditional is bad, modern is good, or whatever, etc. But these divisions do exist in some minds. And for example, traditional dance forms by many are considered to be ancient and rigorous, but also very set in their ways and therefore rigid. Modern dance is considered in comparison to be more contemporary and therefore more creative. There's more freedom involved in it that a codified, stylized classical dance form doesn't have. Moreover, one hears about the issue of relevance, whether 14th century literature and poetry is as relevant as a dance piece about women's safety in India, for example. what I'd like to do, with all due respect to all the dance forms, is to try and demolish some of these myths about traditional dance forms not being able to be contemporary or not being able to be relevant. I feel like traditional dance can definitely be contemporary simply by going deeper into tradition. I don't think that we need to go against tradition. Unlike the West, where modern and contemporary dance came from a rebellion against ballet, this hasn't been the case in India. In fact, in India, people like Uday Shankar, Chandralekha, whoever, contemporary dancers, modern dancers, have not rebelled against classical forms or traditional forms. Rather, they've embraced them and gone deeper into them. What I'm trying to get at is this, that you can contemporize Indian classical dance by extending tradition, by breathing life into it. And how would you do that? Through the power of interpretation, the power of reinterpretation. This doesn't mean that you're going to manipulate the vocabulary of dance or break the rules, but you're just extending the content. And one of the examples of this is Urmila's version of the Ramayana that was written by Bharat Bhushan Agarwal. He was not unfaithful to the Ramayana, but he was just he just shed a new light on it and therefore made it contemporary. And there are tons and tons of modern adaptations of our traditional epics today. The second thing about tradition not being relevant today, this is something that Mr. Mohanty touched upon as well, so I won't go into it very much. But a narrative talking about a Naika pining for her lover on a moonlit night by her doorway, or a Naika adorning herself with temple jewelry and sprinkling rose water on herself in preparation for her lover's arrival, may not be as relevant today as us waiting for an SMS from a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or going to the parlor and getting your hair done and a manicure or whatever. So literally, there is a difference, but in terms of the material symbolism is different, but actually the emotion that you're portraying, whether it's the anxiety of the wait for the lover to arrive or any of those things, those are relevant today. So to conclude, I just like to urge young dancers like myself and younger dancers today to delve deeper into traditions rather than running away from them. Embrace them, breathe life into them, interpret them, reinterpret them, and contemporize them. Thank you.
Now to conclude with one visitor from Madras who ID is very interesting. It is FX. When I heard the word FX, I said this is special effects. And how important special effects is to Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks and all those films we see abroad essentially, and some of it is coming to India too. And she is of course a Bharatanatyam researcher who has joined us from Madras. So since Madras is not represented, or Chennai, may I invite Aparna Pillai before Vidwan Sridhar Jain concludes in Kannada about the form and state of Bharatanatyam. Aparna Pillai.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaskaram to everybody, and it's very scary to actually stand on the stage with such great teachers and dancers on stage. The responsibility of this dais made me come here and just share two things. I'm here as a media person. I'm a television producer. I did act for a short while in Tamil and Malayalam films. And all this was given by dance. And with that responsibility I'm standing here. I feel there is a concern today with respect to internet. There is a lot of internet classes that's happening. It's good, we're reaching a lot of people. But I think it's somehow having ill effects on the ecosystem of dance. With such influential people on stage and lots of us who love dance, I think we will have to give it a thought. I do not know the solution for this, but I'd like to place this. And it's wonderful to have a CD, but what about the beautiful musicians who would accompany us? I think it's just a small thought that we should have, a thought that I've been having. So before Ashish goes down and rings the bell, this is my bell. Namaskaram. Thank you.
Competitions continue, and because we are in Karnataka, we must also use the language here. So may I invite Vidwan Sridhar Jain from Mysore, who's come all the way taking a bus load of his students, started at 4 in the morning to be here today, just to be here for this 10-minute performance.
ವೇದಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗುರು ಹಿರಿಯರಿಗೂ ಆಗ ಆಶೀಶ್ ಬೈಗೆ ನನ್ನ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಚಪ್ಪಾಳೆ ಹೊಡೀರಿ. ಯಾಕೆಂತ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಈ ದಿನ ಕೂತಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅವರೇ ಕಾರಣ. ಸೊ ನಾನಂತೂ ಈ ಸ್ಟೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅವ್ರು ಆಶೀಶ್ ಖೋಕರ್ ಸರ್ ಒಂದು ಬುಕ್ಕಲ್ಲೇ ನಂದು ಒಂದು ಫೋಟೋ ಒಂದು ಮ್ಯಾಗಝಿನ್ ಹಾಕಿದಾಗ ನನಗೆ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯ ಆಯಿತು. ಆ ದಿನ ನನಗೆ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಆದ್ರೆ ಈ ದಿನ ನನ್ನ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಖುಷಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಆಶೀಶ್ ಬೈ. ಡಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಒಂದು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು 4-5 ಲೈನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಆಶೀಶ್ ಬೈ ಟೈಮ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಆನೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇಷ್ಟೇನೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಮನ್ಸು ಇರಬೇಕು, ಶ್ರದ್ಧೆ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಭಕ್ತಿ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ನಾವು ಕಲಿಸುವಂತಹ ಗುರುಗಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ನಾವು ಬರೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಬರ್ಬೇಕನ್ನೋದು ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಈಗಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಡವರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಶ್ರೀಮಂತರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಗೆ ನಾವು ಡಾನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ನಾವು ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ದಿನ ವಿಶೇಷ. ನಾನು ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಷ್ಟದಿಂದ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ. 4th ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ನಂತರ ಅದರಿಂದ ಓದ್ದೆ PUC. ನಂತರ ಡಾನ್ಸೇ ದೇವರು ಅಂತ ನಾನು ನಂಬಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ನಾನು 15 ವರ್ಷ ಆಯ್ತು 18 ವರ್ಷ ಆಯ್ತು ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿ 2 ಫೆಸ್ಟಿವಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಒಂದು ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಗೆಜ್ಜೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮೈಸೂರು ಉತ್ಸವ ಅಂತ. 18 years ಆಯ್ತು ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಗೆಜ್ಜೆ ಫೆಸ್ಟಿವಲ್. ಮೈಸೂರು ಉತ್ಸವ ಅಂತ 5 ವರ್ಷ ಆಯ್ತು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ. ನಾನು ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ಒಂದು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ದಂತ ಒಂದು ಕರ್ತವ್ಯ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಫ್ರೀ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ಯೂಮ್, ಫ್ರೀ ಜ್ಯುವೆಲ್ರಿ, ಫ್ರೀ ಮೇಕಪ್, ಫ್ರೀ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲಿಂಗ್, ₹1 ಖರ್ಚಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂಡ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡಿಂಗ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಡಾನ್ಸರ್ಗೆ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಬಂದಿರೋದ್ರಲ್ಲೇ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನನಗೆ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ದುಡ್ಡು. ದೇವ್ರು ನನಗೆ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಗಿಫ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದು ಒಂದು ವರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ದೇವ್ರು. ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ವರ ನಾನು ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಎಷ್ಟು ಒಂದು ನನ್ನ ತಾಯಿ ಹಾಗೂ ನನ್ನ ಗುರುಗಳು ಈ ದಿನ ನಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ಗುರುಗಳು ಶ್ರೀಧರ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್. ಸೊ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಾವು ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಮಾತು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಗಿ. ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ನನ್ನ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಸೌಮ್ಯ, ಅವಳು ಹಿಂದೂಸ್ತಾನಿ ಆರ್ಟಿಸ್ಟ್. ಅವಳು 5-6 ಜನನ್ನ ಓದಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ. ಒಂದು ಅಲೆಮಾರಿ ಹುಡುಗಿನ ಸಾಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ. ಸೈಕಿಯಾಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ನ 4 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಇವಾಗ ಅವಳು ಸರಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ. PUC ಆಗಿ ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಓದ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ ಅವಳು. ಹಾಗೆ ನಮ್ಮಿಬ್ರು ಒಂದು ಕನ್ಸು ಇಷ್ಟೇನೆ, ನಮಗಾಗಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು, ನಾವು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗಾಗಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ದೇವ್ರು ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ನಾನು ಎಷ್ಟು ಡಾನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ನಾನು ಸುಮಾರು ಜನ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಡಾನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಪಬ್ಲಿಸಿಟಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಡಾನ್ಸ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ನನ್ಗಂತೂ ಡಾನ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಪರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ದೇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಯಾಕಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ನಾನು ಯಾವುದೇ ಆದಂತ ಒಂದು ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಹಾಕಿಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದ್ ಯಾವುದೇ ಆದಂತ ಪಬ್ಲಿಸಿಟಿ ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಫಿಲಮ್ಗೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ತಾನಾಗೆ ಬಂತು. ನಂದು ಯಾವುದೇ ಆದಂತ ಒಂದು ಹೆಸರು ಇಲ್ಲ. ನನ್ನ ಮನೇಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇನೆ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಗೆಜ್ಜೆ ಹೆಸರು, ಮಗಳ ಹೆಸರು ಲಾಸ್ಯ, ಮಗನ ಹೆಸರು ಸಾರಂಜಾಯಿ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಹೆಸರು ನಂದು ಯಾವುದೇ ಹೆಸರು ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ನಿಮ್ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಾದಷ್ಟು ಜೋ ಸಚ್ಚಾ ದಿಲ್ ರಖಿಯೇ, ಸಚ್ಚಾ ಕಾಮ್ ಕರಿಯೇ, और सच्चे से दिल में रहना. जिंदा है तो डांस में है ना, मरना है तो डांस में.